Lastly, I'm sure you're relieved to hear that, we are going to look at how to write an equation in point-slope form. So this time, instead of being given a slope and a point, we're given 2 points. Point-slope, remember, you need a slope and a point. So the first thing that we have to do on this one is calculate the slope. Remember, slope is change in y over change in x. So you take a look at your y coordinates. What did I do from the -2 to make it into a +4? I added 6. So the numerator of my slope is a +6. Change in x. What did I do from -1 to make it a +2? I added 3. So my denominator, or change in x, is 3. And of course, we always simplify our slope. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now that we have a slope and 2 points to choose from, we choose whichever point we want to substitute it into our asylum equation. Write this equation down again. The more often you write it, the faster you get it memorized. So you can choose either point. I'm going to choose that first point again because the x is negative and the y is negative. We haven't seen one like that yet. So substituting my slope into the equation, m becomes 2, x stays x along with y, x1, my x coordinate is negative, so it does the opposite when it goes into my asylum and it becomes positive. My y on the outside stays normal. Normally this is a -2, so it becomes a -2. And then we're going to distribute our slope and solve for y. So distributing the 2, we get 2x plus 2. The -2 stays on the end. Remember, we don't distribute to the value outside the parentheses. And then we combine our like terms. The +2 minus 2 gives us a 0. So we have the equation y equals 2x. Let's take a look at one more of those. This time, again, given 2 points, we're going to calculate that slope, change in y. What did I do to my 3 to make it a 0? I subtracted 3, so the numerator of my slope is -3. Change in x. What did I do from my 4 to make it a -2? I subtracted 6, so the denominator of my slope is -6. I'm going to simplify my slope. The negatives cancel each other out, and 3 and 6 are both divisible by 3. So dividing them each by 3, I get a slope of 1/2. Be careful, a common mistake that I see on these is students doing 6 divided by 3 instead of simplifying the fraction 3/6. So make sure you look at where the bigger number is. If it's in the denominator, you will have a fraction for your answer. Next, pick a point that you like. I'm going to write down my equation again. You should too, so you can get this equation memorized if you don't have it memorized already. And this time, that 0 is always an easy number to use, so I'm going to use the second point right here, substituting my slope into my equation, replacing m with 1/2. In the asylum, the -2 does the opposite, becomes positive. And outside I get a +0, which doesn't change anything, so I don't even need to write that down. And finally, of course, we're going to solve for y by distributing our slope. So we get y equals 1/2 x plus 1/2 times 2. Again, if you like to set that integer over 1, if that helps you multiply your fractions, feel free to do so. Hopefully most of you recognize that 1/2 times 2 or 1/2 of 2 equals 1. So we get y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Finally, your 2 U-try questions. The first one, you're going to take a look at graphing. Don't forget to get y alone before you graph. And if you want to, you can put this all the way into slope-intercept form if you prefer graphing in slope-intercept form, like we saw on the several examples we were writing equations. And this should say Number 2, write the equation of the line given 2 points.